Okay, everybody, here we go. It's me, Gregory Mannarino, Sunday, September 24, 2023. This is my newest segment of Markets A Look Ahead. It's a big one, a lot of things going on here, and I want to cover a specific phenomenon, maximum saturation. This is something I have spoken about for years and years, and I believe, in fact, I am certain that we are seeing this unfold right now. We're going to cover this. If you do subscribe to my free newsletter, this is in your inbox right freaking now. Anyway, we'll get to that in just a moment. I want to just sketch out a few other things here for you. How many of you out here recall many months ago when the major corporations were laying off tens of thousands of people at a time? This really was not getting the media attention that it deserves. I mean, what were they seeing back then that we were not being allowed to know? Again, you have to understand, these corporations here, maybe they're a little ahead of the curve here, more so than U.S. small businesses, which are being destroyed. But what are we finding out? Again, keep in mind, many months ago, major corporations laying off people like there was no tomorrow. And now we're starting to see this phenomenon accelerate to smaller businesses. And this is just from last week here. Business activity slowing dramatically, according to their own numbers, with more and more employers, not just the major corporations here anymore, cutting back on staff. No surprise to you, no surprise to me, and this phenomenon is going to obviously get a lot worse. Look, this economy, not just here in the United States, okay? This is a global phenomenon. We'll talk more about that in this, okay? It's sweeping the world. This is deliberate. This is no accident. We are seeing the things that are happening right now. Now, with that, what else did we find out as of late? The major Wall Street hedge funds are taking out huge bets against the debt market. They're betting that the debt market is going to melt down. It's going to. And they are going to make more money than people can possibly dream about. What it's going to be worth at that point really remains to be seen. But the fact of the matter is, these bets here that are being placed by the major hedge funds that the debt market is in fact going to melt down, these are going to pay off in a massive way, especially if things continue the way they are going. The setup for crude oil, you and I have nailed this to the wall, and I mean to the wall, since crude oil is $67. Got a little bit of a pullback here, but I'm telling you right here and now, people, my crude oil friends out here, those of you that invest in crude, the setup here is, at least in my opinion, extremely bullish. All right. I'm not saying if you bought today, you're going to get in at the bottom. All right. But I'm telling you, it's going much more. Don't take my word for this. You know, we got a warning from JP Morgan that we could see $150 crude oil in short order. In fact, JP Morgan goes on to say they believe there's going to be supply concerns over the next decade. So what does this tell you? I mean, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure this stuff out. Now, with regard to risk in this market, people, it is very, very, very close to extreme levels, according to my indicator, my favorite indicator in the world, the MMRI, Mannarino Market Risk Indicator. Free to you, free to everybody. Link in the description of this video. I sincerely hope you are utilizing that resource. I put it out there for free because I think people need access to this information. Could I have charged for it? Absolutely. But you know how I am. Knowledge is power. And we're in this together here. What affects one of us affects all of us. That's the truth here. So what I want to do here, I really want to cover this. This is critical information. And again, this is in your inbox. So let's just go over this real quick. And after I read this, I want you to ponder this. I want you to consider what we're seeing here, because it's all outlined. And I want to hear from you. Please comment. And like I said, get your own copy. It is in your lovely inbox. People, let us move forward. So for those of you that have been with me for, I don't know how freaking long here, this is what I've been talking about, this maximum saturation moment. If you're new here, just sit down and relax. I'm going to outline exactly what this is, what we're seeing, and where it looks like we're going. So again, maximum saturation by Gregory Mannarino, traderschoice.net. For many years now, I have warned that at one point a maximum saturation moment would eventually occur in the financial system. It's already started. People, again, I'm going to cover things in this which should make it clear to you that this moment of maximum saturation has already started. And no matter what they do at this point, it's almost like it just can't be stopped. Nor is it meant to be stopped. Again, what do you know? You and I realize they got to bring down the current system to issue in a new system. All right. We understand this laughable legislation to prevent central banks or the Federal Reserve from issuing a digital currency. They're laughing. That person or the group of people who put forth that legislation are going to beg for a new system. That's what they're going to make all of us beg for, a new system, as they are making people slaves to the current system, more dependency on the system, all the things that you and I have been outlining for years. It's happening. Anyway, a maximum saturation condition triggers a rapid meltdown of the financial system. A maximum saturation situation occurs when the system becomes unable to support any more debt and then starts to break down. I think we're seeing that now. Bear with me. The current central bank-run debt-based system demands that an ever-increasing amount of debt is constantly and, more importantly, exponentially added to the system just to function. Without it, it's over. Okay. In other words, the debt must expand. Pay attention to this part. This is where I think people get a little confused. In other words, the debt must expand by ever-increasing multiples, and it cannot ever stop until a maximum saturation is achieved. Then the system stops itself, and we're grinding to a halt here. Some of this is going to be a little bit redundant, but bear with me here. At its core, the current central bank debt-based financial system operates in a perpetual vacuum. You know this already if you've been following my work. I've been telling you this for years. A literal black hole which must relentlessly be fueled with ever more debt in greater and greater amounts, the multiples that we just spoke about, okay? The paradox here, and this is where this gets really interesting, at least to me, and I'm sure to you too. The paradox here with the debt-based system is this. Although the system must continually be fueled with more debt, it therefore can never be made whole. What this means is that although the system is already saturated with debt, it remains in a constant deficit state. You understand? However, even with that, there becomes a point when the effect of ever-increasing debt overwhelms the system. And I believe we're seeing that now. Again, we'll go on to this in a moment. When the effect of ever-increasing debt overwhelms the system, a maximum saturation situation or a critical mass is achieved and the system implodes. A debt-based system assures one thing. Understand, this system was never meant to last forever. A debt-based system is really like a Ponzi scheme. At one point, it has to end. And that's exactly what we're seeing here. And I just go on to say that in this last sentence. A debt-based system assures that at one point, a maximum saturation condition will eventually occur. It is a mathematical certainty. Now, this is where I want you to honestly focus on. The earliest sign that a maximum saturation condition has been achieved is rising global inflation. In this situation, okay, global, I said global for a reason here. In this situation, inflation must be widespread, involving multiple nations. You think that's happening now? How about yes? Okay. Secondly, this widespread inflationary situation must be followed by repeated and unsuccessful attempts by central banks collectively, okay, to stop inflation. Clearly, people, these are happening right now. All right, these two keys that are in our face are telling us where we are at. As the maximum saturation condition worsens, pay attention to this part. Holders of debt securities which are sold to the public as the safest investments begin to lose value. To say the least, that is happening right now. Now I go on to say, bonds lose value as risk increases. People, look at the MMRI. It's going higher and higher and higher. The Mannarino Market Risk Indicator, again, link below. We are 10, I think, last time I checked it, I think we're about 290. We are 10 points away from extreme risk. And as I have outlined for you, a direct intervention must happen. It may have already happened, honestly. We watched the MMRI kind of skyrocket. All of a sudden, 10-year yield comes down a little bit. How does that happen? Debt buying. Okay, when debt is purchased, yields come down. Now, what do we know is going on? Nations around the world, none more so than China and Saudi Arabia, are dumping U.S. debt at the fastest pace ever. Okay, someone's got to buy it. You understand? There's a buyer and there's a seller. That's how it works. The Fed's buying it. You're not allowed to know that, but that's what's going on. The system is going to, at one point, become overwhelmed, and that's this maximum saturation. So let me just cover this again. As a maximum saturation condition worsens, holders of debt security, which are sold to the public, again, as safe investments begin to lose value. Bonds lose value as risk increases because of several factors, which include rate increases, which we're getting because they're trying to so-called fight inflation, which they're really not. You know that. This is being sold to the public as the biggest lie in the history of the world, probably. Raising rates here is really not even meant, again, at the pace that they're doing, there's no way they can even hope for inflation from slowing down. This is just a farce that's being sold to the people. It's meant to cut off the availability of credit to small businesses. That's it. They're ending the system. They're crushing small businesses to fulfill the corporate agenda. Period. All right, anyway, rate increases, defaults, which we're seeing off the Richter scale, bankruptcies skyrocketing, and of course, inflation itself. It's a negative feedback loop. This process leads to debt selling off, which pushes bond yields higher, further exacerbating these losses for holders of debt securities. In fact, it exacerbates the whole problem underneath it. And this is, again, a negative feedback loop. This mechanism, in turn, pushes yields even higher, further exacerbating the problem. We're almost done. As a further result, as the maximum saturation situation gets worse, bond yields continue to rise, which we're seeing right now. Then world equity stock markets start to rattle as risk increases. Are we seeing that now? Not just here, but around the world? Abso-freaking-lutely we are, people. Here's something else that you must understand is happening and will get worse moving forward. As this maximum saturation situation gets worse, currencies also suffer, losing more of their purchasing power. And this, of course, makes inflation even worse. Now, the interesting phenomenon here, this has been going on for a very long time. You and I have outlined this years ago that it would continue. The U.S. dollar, on a comparative strength basis or a relative strength basis, still the prettiest belle at the ball. This is going to go on until it doesn't. I think the U.S. dollar is going to die last. Okay, the central banks are in a race to the bottom. You all know that. They're deliberately killing their currencies. This maximum saturation situation here is putting pressure on currencies. My currency trader friends out here, you know what I'm talking about, okay? It's pretty freaking obvious. So currencies also suffer, losing more purchasing power, making the inflation situation even worse. The end result, okay, I'm sure you're waiting for the climax here, of a critical mass or a maximum saturation condition is a complete meltdown of the entire worldwide financial system. And there is no solution. There's no solution, nor is there meant to be one. Again, this one comes down, they issue in their new system. And they're going to have people begging in the streets for some kind of help. It's always the same story. They allow the problem to manifest themselves. They wait for the reaction, and then bam, we have a solution for you. And of course, the solution is going to be in the favor of central banks. What we will see moving forward is a Herculean effort to save the system by adding more debt to it. Again, it's the same thing as trying to save a drowning person by dumping more water on them. Does that make sense to you? World leaders colluding with their respective central banks. Again, we have no representation anymore. We, the people, we've been forgotten. It's our politicians and the central banks who are working together for their own benefit. They know, look, our politicians, all of them, they know exactly what I am telling you. They understand that their only golden parachute here is support by the central banks and making sure they're on the right side of the situation. They got the golden parachute, you don't. But you have to create your own by betting against the debt, by becoming your own central bank, by getting together with like-minded people. This bunkers where our so-called loving, caring representatives are going to be put in when this whole thing melts down. So, again, they're going to be protected. You and me, not so much. All right, anyway, what you're going to see forward here is a Herculean effort to save the system by adding more debt to it. World leaders colluding with their respective central banks will attempt to find every manner of reason to continue to inflate the system. But this will, again, only exacerbate the problem. The more debt that is being piled onto the system right now guarantees one thing. The inevitable end is going to be that much worse exponentially. You understand? So what we're seeing now with global debt ballooning at its fastest pace ever, debt here in the United States ballooning at its fastest pace ever, is only making the underlying problem even worse. It can't be fixed. It's not meant to be fixed. There is no solution to this other than ending the system, which is what they're doing. They are ending the system to issue in a new system, one of maximum control. And people, unfortunately, are being set up to surrender all of their liberties, all of their freedoms, and they're going to be willing to do it. You understand? It's too late. It's too late for a revolution. It's too late, honestly, probably for a revolt. This has all been planned out a century ago. And there's no way any amount of planning right now can stop this, okay? Without divine intervention, and I got a little news for you, ain't happening. This is where we're going, people. I hope you get it. I really, really do. Anyway, with that said, people, a very important video. And I want you to have this. I don't write these things and send them out for free to all of you for nothing. I do this because I think this information is critical. I want you to share this stuff. I want you to gain an understanding as to what's going on. If you have to read this 20 times, do it, okay? Because this is where we are. This is what you and I have been speaking about since forever. What does it mean for you? Again, everyone has a different situation, but we're all in the same boat together here. What do you need to do to prepare for this here? If you do nothing, well, I guess you can choose to do nothing, and things are only going to get that much worse for you. Look, this isn't just about the financial system. This is a much greater issue here, and to prepare for it, you got to be ready mentally, physically, spiritually. You got to get in with the right people that you're going to need to lean on when this thing comes down. And again, this is not by accident. This is all following an exact plan that has been laid out a century ago. A century ago. These central bankers have think tanks. They work together. They've been planning this for 100 years, more than 100 years, okay? They want to be the lenders and buyers of last resort. They want to rule the world. They have the power to do this because they run the world economy. They run the world's financial system. They run the financial markets. They control the money. They control the media. They control the flow of information. That's what they do. You understand? They got a stranglehold on all of us here. But we know their plan. We know what they're looking to do, and that gives us an incredible amount of power. It allows us to understand what we need to do about it. You understand? I hope so. I hope this this has shed some light on the current situation, where we're going, why we're seeing the things we're seeing worldwide. Do you think it's just by chance that inflation is skyrocketing around the world? The world is controlled by the central banks. They're the people that got us here. Meanwhile, we're supposed to trust that they're going to fix the system? Really? Honestly? The lies, the distractions, the deceptions, the propaganda, it's all fake. All of it is. And nobody knows until everybody knows. And people are starting to wake up because of our blog. This is our thing. This is why I urge you people to share this stuff. Get it out there. You think this is important? Give this video a thumbs up. Let people hear this stuff. Again, those thumbs up allow the algorithms to pick up the video. And they show it. Up to you, people. Up to you what you want to do with this information, okay? Put it out there, and then you take it from here, all right? Love all of you from the heart. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being my friend. Thank you for everything, for your support. I will see all of you in the morning, and let me know what you think of all of this. Does it make sense to you, or is this just too far-fetched, and you don't see any of this stuff going on right now? Is it possible that some of you don't see it? Yeah, maybe if you're not paying any attention, but it's going on right now, and it's in our face. See you in the morning.